Let's Hope here at Crafty Hope. Welcome. I am continuing to work on my 100-day project, which is hashtag not precious project. And of course my battery is now blinking that it's dying. Let me fix that. Okay, so it's my not precious project, and that just means that I have a whole stash of things. I have a very large stash. I do mixed media art and jewelry and card making, and somehow a lot of the things in my stash have become too precious, and I know this stems out of fear of me not being good enough to work with these pieces, not being able to do with them, not able to do them justice. And I'll never learn to do that if I don't just dive in and do it. So at the beginning of the project, I condensed some of my items. I made a smaller curated selection of them so I wouldn't have to choose from the entire hoard that I have. And I have come down to the last couple things, and these two pieces are two of them. And this, y'all, it's some kind of rusty, smashed something that I found in a parking lot, I'm sure, and a skeleton key, which unfortunately is about the same color as this, and somehow I'd like to combine these two, but they match too much. And I've pulled out a couple things, seeing if I could maybe like back some of this with, yeah, and I just don't think these are the right things for this. I don't know. It somehow takes away from both of them. I pulled this out because there's holes in it that you could see through some of it, but I still think it kind of takes out the industrialness of it. And I don't know. I'm contemplating. I'm trying to figure out what it is I want to do. I was thinking maybe I could paint a section of this to lay it, and that kind of, you know, honestly, that gave me like, oof, the sweats a little, like, oh my gosh, what if I paint this? I'll mess it up. Y'all, this is trash. It's trash. It could have gone in the recycling bin. It could have, yeah, ended up in a landfill, whatever. It was in a parking lot, and I have honestly made it too precious. So I was thinking about that, and then I thought, what if I painted the key? And of course that gives me even more like, oh no, I couldn't do that. I can't, you know, I would want to put a design on it, and y'all, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I have pulled out a selection of some of my tiniest brushes here, and I'm going to grab a palette, maybe pull off some of the stuff that's on it. And I'm going to, I think before I actually dive in and paint the key, I'm going to spend just a little bit of time today practicing. So I think I'm going to trace the size of this, because this key honestly is tiny. And for some reason my pencil, I've used it too much on wet paint, I am sure. So I just want to paint the size of it to kind of get an idea of what I'm working with. And this is just an index card that was sitting here on my desk. And play with it. I want to do maybe a floral motif of some kind, and this is actually larger than the key is, and that's okay. So I think that's all I'm going to do today, is practice some floral motifs. Hopefully tomorrow I can show you me getting started. I don't see any point in showing me practicing, but I may go ahead and leave this camera on just in case I have some revelation. So we'll see. We'll see. Could I have over-explained that anymore? I think I was very much nervous about altering that key, altering all of it, and that's why I'm doing the little tester, is to kind of give me an idea. So I've pulled out some primary colors here. That's red, yellow, blue. You can see I've got a couple different shades of those. I've got an orange over there and a pink and a different shade of yellow along with the white. And I'm just going to play. I have sped this up quite a bit, and I think I'm even going to cut it down. I'm only going to show you so much of my experimentation with this. I really just wanted to see if I could paint flowers on a very small surface. So that was my concern. I don't have exemplary painting skills, so I was concerned that that small of an area I would just be making blobs and not anything that would resemble flower shapes. So, and I'm starting here with the red because in general, you know, you see flowers, there's shades of, to me anyway, there it's a lot of reds and pinks and purples and oranges. So things that have a red tone to them. And you can see I'm mixing in a little bit yellow there, and I'm going to play with this for quite a while. And even what am I mixing over there? Oh, a green. I'm mixing in a green. Um I will admit to you, so this was days 52, 53, 54. Each of those days, I will have a little bit of an introduction telling you what my plan is, what I have done, those kind of things. And then I've included, if you saw my title or my thumbnail, I said, and 87. So on day 87, I take this little assemblage and I put it inside a box. It is one of the Tim Holtz vignette boxes is what I end up using, and I backed it with some ledger paper that I have from my stash. So that's what I put inside the box, and then I think I put some, like, they're called tumbling tower blocks, so it's like the Dollar Tree's version of Jenga. I think that's what I put behind my assemblage that we're going to see at the end of this to attach it into the box and the ledger paper. And I probably even cut out the center of the ledger paper so that I could adhere that to the box directly. So I'm pretty sure that's what I did. Some reason I did not have the camera on, I think because I can't find that video anywhere. I've looked through all of my files everywhere I could and am not finding the video of me finishing up this project. So this is the last little bit I'm going to show you of me experimenting with painting this tiny. I did take my white gesso and go ahead and paint it over the entirety of the key, just so that I would have a really good surface on which to paint my flowers the next day. So I'm going to get this painted with the white gesso, and not white gesso, clear gesso, and then come back, and I'm going to tell you here in just a second what I had planned to do for day 52. 53. Oh my gosh, y'all. Alright guys, so it is day 53 and I think I'm going to try painting this key, and then possibly from there, I have a piece of, oh, there it is. My desk is ridiculous. I have this piece of metal that I'm going to try to attach it to. So I did coat it with some clear gesso. I suppose I can put that up. I'm going to try to get out less paint than I got out yesterday. I have the brushes I picked out. And I have kind of a template. I keep considering maybe painting it white instead of this, but I think I might actually, I'm very tempted to paint it light blue, so it's like on a sky background. But pale, 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 almost white. So I'm very tempted by that. We'll see what happens. And I indeed decide, yep, let's go ahead and have a nice base of a sky blue in the background. So I put some of that, it's like a primary blue down, y'all. You can see I'm using mostly craft paint, and then I've got a nice Lucas acrylic white paint. It's the Lucas titanium white. And so I'm mixing that darker blue with the titanium white. I've also added more titanium white off to the side, and I'm going to add little bits of other colors in there. That blue ended up being a little periwinkly mixed with the white, so I'm going to add, yeah, I've got a yellow there. That's a nice golden, I don't even know, I picked that up, I think, at a creative reuse store in Cincinnati. So I'm adding a little bit of yellow to get maybe a little bit more of a turquoisey color, and just trying to get a shade that I felt comfortable enough that would be a good base for the flowers and not take away from them. So like I said, they're, I kind of wanted it pale, 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 almost white, but with a touch of blue. So I'm doing what I can to paint I don't think I paint the back of this, because I don't, when I put it down, don't want it to have anything that I wasn't sure exactly how I was going to attach it. We'll get to that too before this video is, before this day is out, I believe. Yeah, pretty sure. So I've got that blue there, and I'm going to go ahead and start getting my other colors out. A little bit of red. Well, I guess it's the only other color I need to get out, and a little paintbrush. So now that that first coat's on there and sat for just a second, I'm going to put a second coat down. And it's just one of those things. I think when I've painted things in the past, I have found that they always look a little bit better when they have like a background, like things pop a little bit better. So I'm going to heat dry this super quick so I can move on to painting my flowers. Now, I think I have sped this up as well because it is a really long process of me painting, doing some color mixing, and adding flowers. And I'm trying to get a different variety of colors along with shapes of flowers. So I've done some that are kind of daisy style along with some that are more rose style. So more like pointing out flowers and curving round flowers. And that's basically, when it comes to flowers for me, that's it. That's about the two styles I paint, or ones that are like daisies and zinnias with petals that kind of poke straight out, and then ones that kind of curve around like a dahlia or a rose, that kind of thing. So, or a camellia, you know. Does that make sense? That's about it. I don't ever do ones that are pointy, that look like oh, and of course my brain is like, you don't know names of any flowers. So once I've done the red, I've decided, you can see I put that pink down with splotches of red, and now I'm trying to make an orange with, of course, red and yellow. Duh. Of course, if you're watching this, you know primary colors mixing. So, and I'm going to go to a different spot. I'm trying to avoid putting my hand on anything that could smear. And yeah, I decided, and you can see I'm testing the colors over on the side, because even mixing them in that little palette, I'm not sure how I feel about them. So I'm testing them off the side to make sure the shades are what I want. So that first flower I put down is that kind of rounder rose, camellia, dahlia type shape. And then here I've got this other, and I don't have a problem adding, layers of color. So I have found that, when my brush isn't completely clean and one color mixes with another, it can give layers and depth to the flowers. Now, this is going, like I said, going to go on for a while. I have zoomed in so you can watch me paint these. I think this one I'm just doing little dots because it is so tiny right there. And I'm going to just keep moving around. Once I get all my flowers down, I will mix up a green to put some leaves on it to give it also, that kind of gardeny feel to it. And I'll mix up several shades of green also to give it some depth and highlights and those kind of things. So I'm going to play some more music and let y'all watch this. I know that's not usually my style, but this goes on for a while, and I didn't speed it up a ton because I wanted you to be able to, this is the majority of this whole project, is me painting on this key. I will say that it was a little bit different painting on the key than the practice painting, because of course the key is not a fully flat surface. it curves, and I was having to make sure like I curved around it and those kind of things. So it was interesting. Now that my flowers have all been painted onto my key, I'm turning to that piece of rusty metal and I'm hammering it down just a little bit to make sure that the surface isn't too bumpy for punching holes in it or attaching what I want to attach. So first thing I want to do is I pulled out some thread. Now this is, y'all, I don't even know what kind of thread this is. It's bulky. It could be a crochet thread. It's very odd feeling. What I find unique about this is that skeleton key that I'm using probably came from my maternal grandmother. She had a small collection of keys that she gave me years ago, and that thread is some that my mom had from my paternal grandmother. And so I find that really interesting, and I didn't even notice that till I was editing this video. And well, actually, when I was editing the pictures for this video, and I was like, oh my gosh, both mamas. That's so funny. So now what I want to do to attach the key, I've decided, especially if I'm going to put that layer of thread behind the key, it's going to be very hard to glue that key down on top of that. So wiring it to the surface would be the easiest thing. So I put the key down and kind of marked where I thought holes needed to be punched, and I'm pulling out this Euro Tool Power Punch, I believe. I'll have a link to it. But it's a big metal punch that comes with different sizes of, you can see I'm taking out this bottom one, and then I will take out the top one. So it's all these different sizes. The one I'm going to use is a 0.5 millimeter, I believe, something like that. That I had to buy separately. It doesn't come with the tool, but it's what I use for like rivets and things like that. It's the smallest punch I have. So I am putting, there's a whole thing to replace the punches, but it's nice that you have a variety of sizes to do that. So I'm putting everything back together. The bottom one just kind of screws in. And then once that is in there, I can go to where I have marked on the Sharpie and punch those holes. And this thing makes short work of it. It is a little unwieldy because I have small hands and most things are. So I'm trying to be very exact. Sorry that my messy hair got in the camera frame there. So I punched through that. Because there are a couple of layers there of that tin. That's the reason I decided to use this tool, because it really gives you some leverage to punch through it. But there's a little bit of that tin dangling, or whatever that material is, dangling in the back. So you can see I'm turning it, trying to keep it from staying attached. But see, there's 2 of the holes there. And I'm going to go and I did 4 more holes. So I did figure you needed to see all of them. And that little piece popped off. So next thing I'm going to do is turn to my thread and kind of, it's thread. It's going to do whatever it does. So what I've decided to do is grab my, I think I use my matte gel medium. Yep. It's a matte gel, something nice and thick, and I'm going to smear it down with the cat had to get in my lap apparently right at that exact time. So I'm going to use that spreader tool that I like to use because it is silicone and cleans up easy. So it's a nice applicator for the matte gel, and I'll clean it up. And once I get that down, I am going to put that right in there and leave it to dry. So once that is down, I think I'm going to leave that and come back the next day. And again, I'll have another little introduction about what's going to happen next. I do decide to add some over the top of it. Okay. That's where we're going to go into day 54. It is day 54 and all of this is dried. This took forever because of the storms yesterday, but it is nice and dry and secure. So I do want to stick this on, but before I do, I think I want to seal this. There's something about it that makes me want to make it shiny, which is not usually my MO. But I'm going to roll with it because, yeah. So I'm trying to find a brush to use. And I've got this triple thick that I guess I'll try to use and see how super thick it is. I've been storing it upside down because it's almost empty, and I started to buy some here recently. Anyway, this will be the first step for today, is sealing this, and then actually put it down something non-stick. So I will seal this and then attach it once it's dry. So we'll see how many coats it needs first. So, okay, that's the plan. So yeah, I'm going to apply this triple thick sealer to the front surface of this. And what I like about a sealer like this, especially a shiny one, is it really makes the details kind of pop off of something. And it really absolutely did do that with this. If you didn't have the triple thick, you could probably use some kind of spray sealer or something like that. But you know, I had this, so it works. And I'm going to leave it to dry. And I'll come back here in just a second and show you what the next step is. But this, yeah, you can see gets super messy because I didn't have much of that left in the jars. I'm spending much of my time just trying to clean off my paintbrush. Okay. So once that's dry, look how beautiful that is all sealed. That triple thick works beautifully. So really comes down to, I just need to attach the key to this tin, and I'm going to use some wire. Now this is rusty wire that was bought on Amazon. It is intended to be a decorative wire and not like contained in the roll and not used in projects. So I definitely don't use it when I make jewelry, but in a project like this, it's perfect. So you can see I am just making little loops like that, like curving the wire and then inserting it into those holes that I've made. And I'm going to do that for all 3. So I have 6 holes. So that's 3 different pieces of wire that I cut down using my wire cutters. And then I'm going to turn them over, try to hold them kind of in place when I turn it over so that they don't fall out. I'm going to make sure it's as tight as I can, get it, turn it over, and then cross them and twist, making that as tight as possible. So I'm going to do that on all 3 of them, and then I think I'm going to cut the wires down and then roll them, but I'm not going to roll them up. I'm going to roll them along the surface of the tin so that you can see I've pulled out some round nose pliers so that I can make these like coils. So yeah, I'm going to cut these down and then roll that so it will be secure. Now when I glue these pieces to the surface, I told you I'm going to put that in the little box. You'll see pictures of all of that at the end. I'll even have a picture of this back for y'all to see. I make sure those are glued down securely. So that is pretty much it for this project. Like I said, I'm sorry I don't have a video of me putting it in the box, but if you want to go back to some of my other projects that have been put in the vignette boxes, you can kind of see it's pretty much the same process. I put paper in the background and then have some kind of riser and apply the assemblage to the box. But if you have questions about that, definitely don't hesitate to ask me. And I will be back with more crafty projects later, more of the 100-day project, iCAD, and whatever else I get into. Tell me what crafty projects you've been doing lately. I would love to hear all about it. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I will see y'all later. Bye.